Leaves of 3, let them be. It's that time of the year where you're probably spending a little bit more time enjoying the outdoors, and God forbid, maybe you came in contact with poison ivy, poison oak, or poison sumac, can give you a rash that is miserable. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you the warning signs that you have come in contact with one of these plants, what the rash looks like, what you might expect the rash, how to get rid of the rash, probably what you clicked in this video to learn about, and importantly, how to prevent having to cope with this again ever in the future. Poison ivy, poison oak, poison sumac. Contact with these plants can lead to a blistering, miserable, super itchy rash because these plants contain a substance called urushiol. This is a oily resin that coats the plant. Urushiol is very sensitizing, meaning that contact with it makes it very likely that your immune system is like, hold up, no. And it becomes sensitized to the allergen, and subsequently, anytime you come in contact with one of these plants, you will develop a rash. Coming in contact with the resin from these plants doesn't just involve directly touching them. You also can have it get on your clothing, and then that clothing can transfer it to your skin. Also, your little pets, while they are not bothered by poison ivy, poison oak, or poison sumac, they don't get rashes, all right? They're not bothered by it, but they can carry it on their fur, transfer it to you. Also, if you're someone who likes to light up a bonfire, make sure one of these plants doesn't make its way into your bonfire because it will aerosolize and not only cause really bad rashes, but can of course cause wheezing and all sorts of respiratory problems. Most commonly you think of poison ivy, but like I said, there are other plants, poison oak and poison sumac, that also contain the resin. So the most important thing for preventing this in the future is knowing what these different plants look like. They look slightly different so that you can identify them and stay away. Poison ivy is a woody vine with 2 to 3 leaflets. The central leaf has a longer stem than the other two. This tends to grow as a vine, and it puts out these little hairy roots to latch onto things like a wall or a tree. It loves to grow vertically. However, if there's no vertical surface, poison ivy will grow as a shrub. Poison oak, on the other hand, does not grow as a vine, but rather as a shrub or a bush. The leaves look like, well, oak leaves. Poison oak does have these little hairs on the leaves. It has an erect stem with leaves at the tip. Poison sumac, on the other hand, typically has 13 leaflets per stem, and the leaves have a smooth surface with a pointed tip. Contact with urushiol from one of these plants typically leads to a rash that blisters. The blisters open up and leak clear fluid. They are notoriously very itchy. The rash typically is grouped in linear configurations, lines, which mimics where these resins are going to drip on to the skin and come in contact with the skin. Some people, however, don't develop a blistering rash, but rather they get these little black spots. Importantly, the rash is not contagious. You can't give someone poison ivy dermatitis if they touch your rash. The rash typically appears anywhere from 4 hours to 10 days after you've come in contact with the resin. The amount of time it takes to develop the rash depends on if it's your first time. If it's your first time getting this rash, it will take a lot longer to develop the rash. However, if you've had it before, it's going to come on a lot faster. Anywhere from 4 hours to 10 days after exposure. So a lot of times people don't necessarily make the connection right away. Mild cases of dermatitis due to contact with urushiol from one of these plants can actually self-resolve with no medical intervention, just taking it easy and letting it run its course. But more extensive, more involved cases often warrant medical attention. How long does this miserable rash last? Well, if it's your first time, it's going to last, unfortunately, a lot longer than if it is a repeat offense. First time rashes usually last 3 to 4 weeks, whereas repeat rashes from future contacts usually only last 1 to 2 weeks. So how can you get rid of this rash at home? Again, mild cases where it's just localized to a few areas, keep the skincare very gentle. Lukewarm water to cleanse with gentle, mild, soapy cleansers to wash the skin. Cool soaks in a tub to alleviate the itch. I highly suggest getting yourself some colloidal oatmeal and putting it in the bath water. It can help soothe the skin and alleviate the itch. Cool compresses also will be a game changer for this itchy, weepy rash. Now, when the blisters erupt, let them just run their course. Don't try and pop them, squeeze them, and whatever you do, try your best, although I know, it's very hard. Try to not scratch. Picking, popping, squeezing, scratching introduces bacteria in the skin, and you can get a secondary bacterial infection known as impetigo, and you just don't want to complicate things. It's already miserable uncomfortable having this rash. Like I said, the blisters, they open up, it's oozy, it's weepy, and it's very, very uncomfortable. Two things I highly recommend for symptomatic relief. Number one is actually calamine lotion. Calamine lotion is a drying lotion. It has zinc and it is a skin protectant. Calamine lotion helps dry up that weepy fluid, and as the water in calamine lotion evaporates, it cools the skin and helps secondarily provide symptomatic relief. The other thing I highly recommend doing is getting yourself something called Dom Burrows. This is aluminum acetate in a powder that is reconstituted in tap water. You can add it directly to that cool bath water, but I also suggest getting yourself some washcloths, reconstituting the powder in tap water, and soaking the washcloths in the solution and applying it to the rash as a cool compress. Do this multiple times a day. Not only is it soothing, but it will help to alleviate the itch and absorb some of that excess fluid and calm the rash down. If the itch is so unbearable that it's disrupting your sleep and it's safe for you to do so, it's okay to try an over-the-counter antihistamine. Diphenhydramine, brand name Benadryl, is very sedating and can help you to sleep and calm down the itch. However, it is very short acting, and in older adults, it might not be a great idea. Like I said, mild cases can be managed at home without medical intervention, and with time, they'll clear up, they'll run their course, and that'll be it. You just kind of have to tough it out. More extensive cases, maybe you have swelling, you're having some difficulty breathing, that would require medical intervention. And in these cases, a course of an oral corticosteroid, namely prednisone, can be a game changer. But here's the thing that you have to be careful of, especially if you're someone who maybe pops into the urgent care and it's not even entirely clear that you are dealing with poison ivy when you see them, and maybe they prescribe you a course of prednisone. If the course is too short, well, then you will have a rebound eruption of the rash and it'll just prolong it. So in other words, the amount of time that you take the medicine has to be a little bit longer. Usually 2 to 3 weeks of a taper of prednisone can really help be a game changer. But if the course is too short, you can get a rebound worsening. Now, here's where people get the poison ivy rash wrong. They think that it's spreading because they'll have the rash and then a few days later they've got rash maybe right next to it or somewhere else, and they think that it is spreading from internally. But remember, this is a contact dermatitis. It happens wherever you came in contact with urushiol. It's nothing coming from the inside of you. It's coming from the outside, contacting the skin. The reason it appears as though it's spreading, like you got the rash in one location and it pops up in another location, is one of two reasons. Number one is not all areas that come in contact with the resin are going to develop the rash at the same rate. Skin that has come in contact with the most concentrated amount of that resin going to develop the rash first. May take a little bit longer for other areas. The other reason that you might develop rashes in the next few days outside of where it first popped up is that you're still coming in contact or having contact with that urushiol resin. Maybe you are still going out and touching it, or maybe it is in your home now. Maybe it's being transferred from clothing. Maybe Fido has it on his fur and he's sleeping in the bed with you. You're cuddling with him and it's getting on you and you're still getting these rashes. So repeat contact, continued contact, more rashes. And maybe you had repeat or continued contact in the few days after the initial contact, and now it's a week or so later and the rashes appear to be spreading. But just keep that in mind. The rash is not coming from you internally. It's not coming from inside, it's coming from outside. It is an outside job, not an inside job. So at the beginning of the video, we went over what these different plants look like. What happens if you come in contact with one of these plants? Is there anything that you can do to prevent getting this awful rash? Yes, absolutely. Immediately act fast and wash the skin. You actually want to wash the skin of the resin, and you kind of need a bit of a robust cleanser. You can use rubbing alcohol to remove the residue. You can use dishwashing liquid, Dawn dish soap for example, to remove the residue. There's also a product called Technu that is formulated to remove the urushiol resin. They sell it in a cleanser and wipes. This is something that I do suggest people keep on hand if you are out doing stuff outdoors in the woods, camping. That way, if you come in contact, you can act quickly, and the little wipes are really handy. The wipes are safe to use on your pet. You can wipe them down. Then as soon as you use that cleanser on your skin, you want to rinse it with copious amounts of cool water. Not only to rinse away the cleanser plus urushiol, to rinse it off the skin surface, but also to rinse off the cleanser, because these cleansers are not anything I would ever recommend recommend you to use on a regular basis to bathe with. They're very harsh, they're very drying. So you don't want to leave any of that cleanser residue behind on your skin because it's just going to dry it out and make this whole process much worse for you. When you are washing this off, don't scrub. Don't take a washcloth and scrub, because that will actually enhance penetration of that resin into the skin as you're attempting simultaneously to remove it. Make sure you wash under your nails. That's another reason why you may have repeat, in a sense, exposures, is that the resin is under your nails and you're touching other areas of your body, transferring that allergen to those areas of the body. You want to wash your clothes in hot, soapy water to remove that resin. If it's on your clothing, it's going to continue to reinfect you, if you will. You want to wash everything that possibly could have come in contact with the plant. That includes gardening tools, maybe your golf clubs if you were out and about, camping equipment, again, your pet. You want to wash in soapy water to remove the urushiol resin. If you wash within 20 minutes of contact, you can completely prevent the rash from coming out. But if it's been longer than 20 minutes, doing this can still help and may not completely prevent you from getting it, but certainly can reduce the overall severity. Now that you know what to expect, how to get rid of it, how to deal with it immediately to prevent the rash, how can you prevent it in the future? Like if you're going camping, you're going to be spending time outdoors, possibly there is one of these plants where you're going to be, what can you do to prevent coming in contact with it? Well, knowing what it looks like, half the battle. You see it, stay away. Don't come in contact with it. Don't touch it. Be really careful if you want to fire up a bonfire because, again, it can aerosolize and settle on your skin, your eyelids. You can inhale it. Whew. Wear long sleeves and long pants when you're out enjoying the outdoors in a wooded area. I am always advocating for the long sleeves and the long pants for those of you who do go out hiking in the woods, camping, etc., because it hits so many important preventatives. Not only in this case, reducing contact of that urushiol resin on your skin. Also, your long pants, you want to tuck them in your shoes to prevent ticks from crawling up your leg. Check out my video on tick bites, how to remove a tick. I give a lot of tips and tricks in that video. I'll link it down below in the description box. And of course, long sleeves, long pants, they also protect against sun damage. And that way, if you come in contact, much less likely that it has touched your skin. You can remove your clothing, wash right away. If you're out camping and you can't wash your clothing right away, have some Ziploc bags that you put the clothing in and try and wash your hands right away. Again, that new tech can be amazing. But in addition to avoiding the plants, wearing long sleeves, long pants, exposed areas like your hands, they can be treated with something called Ivy Block. Ivy Block can prevent the urushiol from accessing your skin, from penetrating your skin. It's like a zinc oxide dimethicone, intense skin protectant, and it's what is recommended for people who work outdoors, like outdoor workers who might be coming in contact with it or tasked with removing it. Speaking of being tasked with removing it, if you have it on your property and you want to get rid of it, be really careful with how you approach getting rid of it, and keep this in mind that that urushiol resin can get on your clothing, it can get up under your nails, and you can transfer it everywhere. So make sure you get bags and gloves so that you avoid coming in direct contact with the plants. After you've come in contact with this, again, wash your clothing. When you wash your clothing and you take your clothing off, wear gloves because you can transfer the urushiol from your clothing to your hands, spread it all over the place. So wear gloves to load your washing machine. That way you don't end up spreading it all around. All right, y'all, that's a wrap up with regards to poison ivy, poison oak, poison sumac, pesky with that urushiol resin. And once you know that you have the sensitivity, the allergy, anytime you come in contact with these plants, again, you will get a rash. Maybe you've been camping with someone who is not sensitive. You get a rash and they don't. That's a story of allergic contact dermatitis. But the urushiol resin is very, very sensitizing. I mean, it is a super common contact allergen. All right, y'all, I really hope this video was informative to you. If you are dealing with this, I'm very sorry. I hope these tips and tricks help get you some symptomatic relief to get you over the hump of dealing with this. In the description box and in a pinned comment, I'm going to link some of my other outdoor videos, like my bug spray video, my ticks video, lots of camping, outdoor activity-based skincare tips and tricks videos I have on this channel. So check there with summer coming up. But if you guys enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and as always, don't forget, sunscreen and subscribe. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye.